Hey, this is just to start off with the video, just so you guys know, you'll only be seeing like a solid image of Ric Flair because I got copyright strike when I tried to upload it, so I'm just going to put a solid image of Ric Flair, and hopefully that works. That's just a disclaimer. This video is mainly for listening, so, lay back, have some popcorn, whatever. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
The Nature Boy, Ric Flair, is one of the best, if not the greatest professional wrestler to ever compete in the squared circle. But before the 16 World Championships, yes I know, he won more, Ric Flair and 3 other wrestlers almost lost their lives in a plane crash. The day was October 4th and the year was 1975. The group consisted of the Nature Boy Ric Flair, Johnny Valentine, Bob Bruggers, Tim Woods, promoter David Crockett, and the pilot Joseph Michael Farkas. They left Charlotte to Wilmington, North Carolina for a sold-out show. Johnny Valentine, who was the NWA United States champion at the time, was sitting next to the pilot. He was the first one to notice that the airplane was out of gas. He turned around to the group, smiled and laughed, and he said, "Guess what? We are to fill." He laughed because Johnny knew the airplane could fly with only one engine going. The pilot did not distribute the weight properly when they were in Charlotte, so he decided he would toss out Phil. This decision was proven to be fatal. At this point in time, the aircraft had descended to a little above 1,000 feet off the ground. Michael Farkas pulled the lever that allows reverse fuel tanks to activate, but it was also empty. When he pulled the lever, the right engine went out. Tim Wood said, "We just dropped like a rock." The aircraft, which was a twin-engine Cessna 310, nosedived rapidly. David Crockett wasn't even supposed to be flying that day. His brother Jim Crockett was. But his brother was not feeling well, so he went because it was only a 45-minute flight. He was remembering that his wife just had a kid and he wanted to control his breathing because he knew if he passed out, he would be deader than a doornail. He was scared to crash in water because there was all these big wrestlers around him and he knew he wasn't going to get around them in time to survive. But they crashed 3 miles right outside of an airport into trees. Tim Woods, who was wrestling as the original Mr. Wrestling at the time, was thinking about what Austin Idol told him. Austin Idol is a previous plane crash survivor. Tim knew he was going to survive, but he wasn't wearing shoes, so he didn't want his feet to be torn to the bone, so he put a suitcase under his feet. Johnny Valentine believed he would come out just fine. Quote, "All the time when they were going down, he said he knew he wasn't going to be hurt." End quote, said Valentine's wife Sharon. Farkas used controls to level and stall out the plane at about 4,000 feet, so he would slow down the plane on impact, but they still hit the ground at 85 to 100 miles per hour. On impact, the seats broke loose from the wall. Johnny Valentine, who was up front, took most of the blunt force from the seats and the baggage as they slammed into him, breaking his back in 3 different places. David crashed through the seat in front of him, breaking Wood's ribs, and David's mouth was ripped open and his right shoulder being dislocated. The Nature Boy, who was only 26 years old at the time, broke his back and had multiple lacerations. Burgers also broke his back. The plane finally ended up in a railroad embankment only 100 yards off from the railway. That is only a football field away to a runway. That is absolutely crazy. Johnny, who was conscious the whole time, told David that he was lucky to not remember it. That is actually really chilling. After the crash, the 6 men were rushed to the hospital where Michael Farkas died of his injuries in the hospital. When Valentine's back was crushed, a bone fragment got stuck in his spinal column, which caused paralyzation from the waist down, which crushed and shattered his wrestling career. They stitched up David Crockett and fixed him up. Bruggers got a sew rod in his back, and Ric Flair does not like talking about the plane crash. And what is crazy is that his entire career could have been ended because him and Valentine switched seats because Flair was actually afraid of heights. Something else that is pretty crazy is that kayfabe was still in place. So when the plane crash was reported, Tim Woods' real name was Hughes, so no one knew he was traveling with his rivals. Even Wahoo McDaniel was almost taken out of the hospital because police were scared that Wahoo was coming down to hurt Ric Flair, one of his rivals at the time. The plane crash was an extremely sad and life-changing experience for all these wrestlers. That's all I have for you guys now. I hope you guys have a great day. Hit the subscribe button and leave a like.